Thank you, everyone, for joining us for this session, um, and and welcome to you wherever you're tuning in, wherever you're at in the world. Um, so, if you're new, I'm Lama Rod. I use he/him pronouns, and I'm on the ancestral lands of the Creek, Muskogee, and Cherokee people in the city we call Atlanta. So it's really wonderful again to be with you today. Yeah, and just as Eric pointed out, this is for your liberation. And we practice for our liberation, but we're also practicing on behalf of so many beings, people, and all beings, both physical form beings as well as non-physical or formless beings. The whole ecology, the whole system has to be freed from delusion, right? And in the relative, what that means is that we must be freed from, all experiences of violence and harm, all systems and institutions that promote that feed this kind of um, harm against us and our communities. Um, and Medicine Buddha is really about tuning into the causes and conditions of that harm, which lie at the root also of our dis-ease, of our um, struggle to experience wellness and health. Freedom is about, well, freedom and healing and health and wellness is all linked together because it's all about wholeness. It's about reassembling ourselves. It's about coming back together, right? Noticing the ways in which we have lived very fragmented lives, and that fragmentation, of course, comes about through suffering, through trauma, through despair, hopelessness, sadness, and so forth. And we're trying to invite all these fragmented pieces back together into wholeness, right? And we do this for ourselves first because we have to. Because how can we help others to heal if we're not engaged in our own healing journey, right? How do we, how do we teach people to be free when we have no idea what freedom is for ourselves, right? This doesn't mean that you have to be completely free or completely healed to be of help, but what this definitely means is that you need to be doing the work, in some form. As I often say, if you're not doing your own healing, you're not going to put your hands on me and call yourself a healer trying to heal me. you know, because when people haven't done their own healing work, they transfer their own trauma, right, to you. Some of us have been in that position, right? People are trying to help us, but instead they're just transferring their own suffering or trying to transfer their suffering to us. And this is why we have to focus initially on our own healing till we get to a place where we can hold our work and open up the space to invite others, right, into it to be of benefit for them, right? Don't think that solidarity means that you're depriving yourself. Like that's a colonialist logic, actually, you know. Another colonialist logic or carceral logic actually, is that somehow we have to detox and diet really intensely to get free, when in fact most of us are deeply depleted to begin with, right? And so actually what we have to do is learn to open and accept and take in, right? Um, you have to learn what being nourished is and what it feels like, right? And get out of this mindset that somehow restricting your own nourishment is somehow in solidarity with people who don't have access to nourishment because you're actually creating more issues for people who are trying to get free, right? Like you show up and you become a burden for people because you haven't actually opened to the resources that are for you, right? And of course, guilt is what keeps us from doing this work of opening to nourishment, to resources. I feel guilty because, I have access to something so many people don't. Well, how about you start opening to the resources that are there for you, right? And actually beginning to learn how to transfer this energy of deep nourishment to others. As I take in, I am imagining offering this nourishment to so many other beings who are struggling to be well, who also are struggling to get free as well. Right? So to begin, right, just reflecting on the ways in which you struggle to experience this nourishment, which is comes in the form of care, which can be, also come in the form of love, of compassion, you know, whatever that nourishment is for you. Like just think about like what it would mean for you to actually start really opening, right, to this nourishment and what you could do in the world to help others when you're not yourself struggling, right, with malnourishment. And even this contemplation begins opening up, opening our hearts, our minds to the receiving of nourishment, which in this case tonight will be the blessings of Medicine Buddha. So even just beginning to just reflect on why we're practicing to begin with, because ultimately what we're doing is practicing to get free, right? To get free from suffering, to get free from delusion, right? To get free from believing in the realness of self and ego, to remember the dream, to remember the illusion, right? To remember that this world, though it may be interesting and full of dramas between, Magna Stallion and Nicki Minaj, right? Just in case you got wrapped up in that this weekend. I know half of you have no idea what I'm talking about, but I live on the street, so this is what we talk about. Anyhow, that we're practicing to get free from all of this nonsense and this like beef and like the silliness, the drama, right? It's entertaining, but it doesn't get you free, right? You're practicing to get free. You're practicing to remember who you are, that you're not the drama and the confusion, right? You are an awakened being. And even as an awakened being, you have an obligation to help others to remember their own divinity, their own awakened nature, right? That's the obligation, right? In this tradition, if you get free, then you are obligated to help others get free because guess what? You didn't get free on your own. If you're sitting here listening to me, you're getting some help to get free. So therefore, you owe me. And the way you pay me back is to help others get free. This is the pyramid scheme here. You know, the pyramid scheme that works out for everyone in this situation. because there's always going to be people, beings who need to get free from samsara, from the carceral state, right? And as we talked about last week, you don't have to know what you're going to do. You just have to start entering into the mindset that my practice can become medicine. You may not know what that looks like or how to do that. And that's wonderful because the practice will do the work for you. You don't have to figure it out. You just have to practice. You have to get clear. You have to develop care, right? You have to develop the intention. All that will work in your favor, and you will naturally become what beings need around you, right? Just become the practice. When you become the practice, you become the medicine. And you begin to flow into the world. You begin to flow into relationships, into communities that need the medicine. You learn just simply how to be your most authentic, direct, caring, loving self. And if you're not attempting to develop this intention of practicing only to get free and to help others get free, then this is the wrong practice for you. And in fact, Buddhism is the wrong path for you, regardless of what some people may say. This is really just about getting free and helping others get free. That's the point. The point isn't to hang out in this reality in samsara in the carceral state and try to make a home here. That's not the point. The world is not your home, right? And the sooner you start working with that, the quicker like the path picks up because you're not holding on to these false promises of this reality. And when you start letting go of the realness of everything, then you enter into a very noble, profound, ancient path of practice, the wandering, the great wandering, right? Which seems lonely and disorienting and overwhelming or maybe underwhelming sometimes. And if you feel that, you're doing something right. If you feel really comfortable, right, and if comfort is the primary kind of experience, I think you're doing something wrong. If you're a little bit on the edge, you're probably exactly where you need to be. So find that middle place, that middle ground of comfort and discomfort and ride it, right? Where comfort doesn't take over discomfort and discomfort doesn't take over comfort. It is a balance. And that balance keeps you awake. It keeps you from falling into a further sleep, into this reality. You feel the edginess, right? It's that thought in the back of your head that keeps telling you to wake up. You're supposed to be confused. You're supposed to, all of everything that's supposed to happen, right? And if you trust the practice will hold you in the confusion. If you trust the medicine Buddha, if you trust the lineage, it will hold you, right? But you have to commit to the work of getting free. So I already know some of you are journeying, but come on back. Come on back to the moment. Come on back. We're not ready yet. You know, stay with me. And so let's go deeper. As we prepare to open up the space to experience the blessings of Medicine Buddha, let's shift our attention down to our seat. And let's continue with this central channel breath that we've been working on for the past few sessions. This is a good winter settling breath. But first, just noticing how the seat rises to hold you and how your body is surrendering to the seat. Noticing how this interaction of body and seat creates this anchor. And let the anchor begin to hold you. Surrender to it. Let the seat do its work of caring for you, your body. Let the earth rise to hold you and everything. Because the same earth that's holding you is the same earth that's holding me. Now bringing some attention to the tailbone. And imagining that we're just inhaling into the tailbone. If you're not working with the breath today, just continue to rest your attention right with the anchor and the seat. If you are working with the breath, beginning to imagine first breathing in and out of the tailbone. So bringing the breath low into the body. So allow yourself to breathe really close to the earth, as close as you can. So let's continue further and beginning to breathe up the central channel, which is parallel to the spine. Inhaling up from the tailbone to the top of the head. And then as we exhale, allowing the breath to just fall back down to the tailbone. And repeating that sensation of the breath rising up and down the central channel, the Uma. And if you're, in really intense kind of emotional energies or an emotional state, this is a really good breath because it can feel like this breath is like really pushing through some of the strong emotional energy that we find ourselves struggling throughout our day. So as we inhale up the central channel, we're inhaling into the nose. As we exhale, exhaling out of the mouth. And as you're exhaling, adding another visualization here, which is as you're exhaling, as you're inhaling, imagine that you're inhaling just all the resources you need, whatever it is, energy to get stuff done, motivation, insight, whatever it is. What do you need? Imagine breathing it in, inhaling into the nose. And then as you exhale out of the mouth, imagine letting go of the shit you don't need anymore, or the stuff that you struggle with. Stop struggling with it and just release it. And this kind of setup, this kind of practice can slowly start bringing us into a kind of equilibrium. And let go of the shame around the things that you need, right? Let go of this is very personal. This is really about you. We haven't gotten to the community yet. We're going to get to that. But right now, this is about you. So be selfish. This is skillful selfishness. Inhaling in what you need, exhaling what you don't need. So a few more breaths. And coming back to a natural breath, returning attention back to the seat, grounding just for a few moments before we continue. And just noticing as we're grounding, just noticing any shifts, any change in your body, your mind, whatever you notice. So we're gonna move deeper, start getting into our main practice in this session with Medicine Buddha. And so let's turn our attention to the space around us. And as always, just a reminder, you can continue with your eyes open or you can close your eyes, whatever feels appropriate for you. But do whatever feels natural as well, which is a key here. And so in the space around us, with our eyes closed or open, I invite you to imagine that everything begins to dissolve into white light. And slowly that white light begins to dissolve into emptiness. And try not to think too hard about this. Just let whatever happens in your mind happen as I'm guiding you through this. So everything dissolves into emptiness. And within this emptiness, we begin to call forth all of our benefactors, all the beings who love us, who want us to be safe and free and resourced, both living beings and formless beings, deities, spirits, ancestors, the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, the guardian spirits and caretakers of the lands that we're on and the elements, all beings of light, including angels and dakinis and dakas. They begin to emerge within this expanse of emptiness like stars beginning to awaken in the midnight sky. And they're radiating this white, soft light, filling up this immense space around us within this emptiness. What does it feel like just for all of these benefactors, these beings, to start emerging within the emptiness of your mind and beginning to radiate this soft white light, which begins to bring this incredible illumination into the emptiness of your mind? And within the center of this emptiness and the stars of your benefactors, you begin to imagine an orb of white light that begins to appear. And then we begin to imagine that all the benefactors begins to radiate their energy, this white light, into this orb, this ball of light within the center of everything. Kind of like the moon, kind of like looking up at the full moon. And how all our benefactors as stars are just radiating their light into this orb, this moon. And this orb, this moon is absorbing everything and getting brighter and brighter. till this orb is the strongest source of light within this universe, this galaxy of benefactors. And when you're ready, we turn our attention to our first mantra, which I love to call our mantra of welcome, to begin to evoke, to awaken the presence of Medicine Buddha, Minla Sangye. Minla Sangye Kino Soha, Medicine Buddha, please think of me. And again, we start with an and then we chant the mantra 3 times, and then we end with chanting Okay? We begin with and inhaling. Om la sange kino so Om ben la sange kino so Om ben la sange kino so And having offered this mantra of welcome, the supplication to Medicine Buddha, we begin to imagine that this radiating moon or orb of light in front of us slowly begins to transform into an embodiment of Medicine Buddha. And again, you can imagine this classical iconography representation of Medicine Buddha being a monk sitting on a lotus seat, blue in color, holding a bowl and plant of medicine, or allowing this orb of light to transform to the expression of the healer that is meaningful for you. And when your expression of medicine Buddha has emerged, and you don't have to see anything, you don't have to have a clear visualization of anything. Again, just having the sense that regardless of what is sensed, something is still happening. And resting within that trust, or perhaps that faith, that when we call Medicine Buddha, when we begin to chant to and with Medicine Buddha, that Medicine Buddha is present with us, regardless of what we sense. We imagine that Medicine Buddha gazes down at us and gazing down with this expression or this energy of just profound care for us, this profound nurturing and love for us. And within Medicine Buddha's heart center, there's this white glow, a radiance that begins to emerge at their heart center is glowing passionately. And from Medicine Buddha's heart center, we imagine a very gentle, steady flow of energy, of white energy, like a flow of white light, gently flowing from Medicine Buddha down into our own heart centers. And this flow of energy into our own heart centers is the flow of everything that we need to experience our own healing and wellness, everything that we need to experience remembering, coming back together. Let this flow, this stream of energy from Medicine Buddha into our own bodies be an expression of all the love and care of all of our benefactors. All of our benefactors that have ever loved us, including all the benefactors that will love us in the future. And filling our hearts and slowly our bodies, filling up with this energy of deep, profound healing from Medicine Buddha. And when we're ready, we begin to turn our attention to our second mantra, the main mantra. Teya taum bekenze ma bekenze rasa sumung gate soha. And you can chat with me in your space, right? Or you can just sit and listen as well. Again, doing whatever feels natural and intuitive. And in the practice, just sitting, lying, and just allowing this flow of deep healing, profound healing, to flow from Medicine Buddha into our own bodies and minds. O te anda begenze ma begenze rasa sumungatis oha te anda begenze ma begenze rasa sumungatis oha te anda begenze ma begenze rasa sumungatis oha te anda soa te anda begenze begenze ma begenze razunga de soa te anda begenze begenze ma begenze razunga de soa te anda begenze begenze ma begenze razunga de soa te anda begenze begenze ma begenze razunga de soa te anda begenze begenze ma begenze razunga de soa te anda begenze begenze ma begenze razunga de soa te anda begenze begenze ma begenze razunga de soa te anda begenze begenze ma begenze razunga de soa te anda begenze begenze ma begenze razunga de soa te anda begenze begenze ma begenze razunga de soa te anda begenze begenze ma begenze razunga de soa te anda begenze begenze ma begenze razunga de soa te anda begenze begenze ma begenze razunga de soa te anda begenze begenze ma begenze razunga de soa te anda begenze begenze ma begenze razunga de soa te anda begenze begenze ma begenze razunga de soa te anda begenze begenze ma begenze razunga de soa te anda begenze begenze ma begenze razunga de soa te anda begenze begenze ma begenze razunga de soa te anda begenze begenze ma begenze razunga de soa te anda begenze begenze ma begenze razunga de soa te anda begenze begenze ma begenze razunga de soa te anda begenze begenze ma begenze razunga de soa 마비근세 라스 수문가티 소아 대한다 홈배근세 배근세 마비근세 라스 수문가티 소아 대한다 홈배근세 배근세 마배근세 라스 수문가티 소아 대한다 옴배근세 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 배근세 마배근세 라스 수문가티 소아 just turning my attention to offering of prayers. And again, inviting all of our benefactors, all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, the Yidams, the Dharma protectors, all beings of light, all the guardians and keepers of the lands that we're living and practicing on, all of our benevolent ancestors, and all beings across the universe. We ask you to come and to hold these prayers and to work on our behalf to bring about the fruition of these prayers. And our ultimate prayer is always the prayer of freedom and liberation for all beings, as is in alignment with the Tantric tradition of Medicine Buddha, to wish that all beings are free and safe and happy and resourced, regardless of who these beings are. All beings deserve to be free. All beings deserve to be free. Not just the beings you like, but all beings. And if you're struggling to get to that intention that all beings deserve and must be free, then you know what your work is in your practice, is to get to this attitude that regardless of who a being is or what they've done or what they've said, they deserve to be free as much as you do from all the causes and conditions of suffering. So we get to offer prayers for my Aunt Janine, Zia Janine, and her family as she prepares to enter into the bardo. Offering prayers for Kate, who has entered hospice, and deep support for her family and friends who are facing losing her very soon. Offering prayers for me as my husband, confidant, best friend, and partner in crime for 25 years, left me right before our disabled daughter's 16th birthday without warning, and scattered to the winds and utterly bereft and in a state of shock. I am so very lost. I need prayers to stay connected to divinity and gratitude, and so be it. Offering prayers for Cassandra as she recovers from her heart attack and continues to live with chronic illness. May her suffering be eased, and she and her family have the resources they need. Offering prayers for my 16-year-old daughter that she has all she needs in terms of relationships, resources, agency, beloved, safety, belonging, and joy to live her full and best life. Offering prayers for all women and femmes, for those suffering at the hands of their oppressive states. Know peace, dignity, and strength. May they know love and stability. Offering prayers for all of those who come to my rescue to protect my daughter from her father's chaos and harmful decisions. Offering prayers that my husband is lifted from this denial and sees how he put our daughter at risk so I may trust his parenting. Offering prayers for Kristen and John, who have just experienced the death of their father. Offering prayers that the suffering from this experience go to free all beings everywhere. Offering prayers for focus and stamina to complete this PhD and move on from this violent white supremacist institution. Offering prayers for all the people who are putting up roadblocks and adding strife, that they feel like they have what they need to be well and resourced so they can turn their attention to other things than causing unwelcome disruptions and suffering for others. Offering prayers for Palestine and for all those standing by Palestine, fighting for their liberation. Offering prayers for Bryn, who just lost their job, that they find what is truly theirs moving forward, that they find security, dignity, and purpose. Offering prayers for myself and my partner as we grieve the loss of our baby, and for all babies dying in Palestine. Offering prayers for Rachel's swift recovery. May she feel loved and supported by her Sangha, friends, and loved ones during this time. Offering prayers for Francesca. May she be protected, may she have clarity, and may she trust her intuition. Offering prayers for Tom. May he choose his health over his determination to disassociate. May he learn to love himself enough to choose to save his own life by tending to his addiction with love and compassion. Offering prayers for Carla. May her path be clear and blessed. May she know abundance and allow herself to pursue what fires her up. Offering prayers for Stefania. May her chemotherapy treatments be more productive than painful, and may she find loving kindness in her heart. Offering prayers that may we all strive to move slowly to resist resumption in the face of genocide and the many forms of late capitalism. May we hold space for our grief and outrage. May we behold beauty and allow our emotions to be on display for others. Offering prayers for wisdom and insight to the lawyer reviewing our civil rights case. Offering prayers for Ivan that he may be released from his selfish, fixated confusion and anger, that he may have mercy on me. Offering prayers for CJ as they recover from their most recent chemo treatment, and that their pain is resolved so that they can maintain nourishment. Offering prayers for their partner and primary caregiver and their family and community. Offering prayers for all those whose hurt, pain, and suffering calls them to inflict hurt, pain, and suffering onto others. Offering prayers for myself and my family as we heal from the effects of alcoholism. Offering prayers for Miss Betty and all of her daughters and those who love and care for her as she recovers from surgery. Offering prayers for Nancy as she continues to winter and heal from her broken jaw. Offering prayers for my rage. May I hold it with spaciousness and move through it into more freedom. Offering prayers for Tans as she navigates the loss of her best friend. Prayers for T as they transition. May they be free. Offering prayers for Palestine, my beloveds, and deep remembrance that connects us all to feel clear, accessible, and galvanizing to all beings. Offering prayers for P and C, whose pain and suffering are palpable and persistent. May they be free. Offering prayers for myself as I learn to skillfully discern how to care for myself and practice self-compassion and nourishment in the midst of conflict and psychic attack. May I remember that I deserve peace and to be free from harm. Offering prayers for my sister Rebecca, recently released from the hospital. May she find rest and healing. Prayers for me in my housing search. May I experience stability soon. Offering prayers for moving storytelling efforts along and having a clear set of next steps that open up opportunities for others to share too. Offering prayers that I might find healing when I see the oral pathologist tomorrow. Offering prayers that I can move through this crankiness and not place it on others. Offering prayers for liberation of all who are suffering. Offering prayers that my practice will become medicine. Offering prayers that I will tap into healing power and flow it freely to others. Offering prayers for Linda and Cynthia that they move in ease and joy. Offering prayers for Janie that she get all the resources she needs. Offering prayers for Eileen as she deals with cognitive decline. Offering prayers for Janice as she raises 3 daughters with limited support. May they all have the resources they need. Offering prayers for me that I heal from all the lies and trauma that have me bound. Offering prayers that I may be guided on how to best use my time, energy, and resources to support care and freedom for all beings. And for Assad, may they continue to seek and reach authenticity. Offering prayers for guidance from ancestors during my travels and hiccups. Prayers for my job interview tomorrow. Prayers for myself, Valerie, and Claire, all working through trauma and trying to reduce harm to one another as they do. Offering prayers for me to be an instrument of healing for my students, receiving all I need to be resourced to aid their liberation. Offering prayers for forgiveness and generosity. Offering prayers for my beloved. May they know and feel how deeply loved they are. May they be free. Offering prayers for my family and especially Dad as he struggles with illness, and for my mom who provides bedside care that she feels supported. Offering prayers for me as I go to a new period of life and the new job I will be starting soon, that I can financially support myself and continue to heal. Offering prayers that my sodium levels remain steady where they are, that I can recover from this sudden drop and can concentrate on healing from knee surgery last week. Deep prayers of appreciation for all the love, prayers, and people where I live, including my children whose help has been invaluable. Prayers for healing for all beings everywhere. They find the loving resources that they need. Thanks to all of you. Offering prayers for my sister as she spends tonight in the hospital. May she be freed from her dependence on alcohol and is held by all the love that surrounds her. Offering prayers that Jack Watson have a good, easeful transition to wherever it is he's going upon his recent death. Offering prayers for Beth, so that she feels her worth and beauty, separate from her appearance, and for me too, prayers that I stop anguishing about the look of my aging face and body. Offering prayers for Michelle that they continue to discover ways to deal with such extreme pain, and that they experience life from the disappointment, frustration, and rage of living in their body. Offering prayers for Trevor that he may be relieved of his loneliness. Offering prayers for Richard that he not cause too much damage in his manic state. Offering prayers for Ked and her recovery from Hep C, and prayers for relief from the fear that she is feeling. Offering prayers for my own sense of self-worth and self-love. Almost 57 years, and I keep falling to such low self-esteem. 20 plus years of chronic health issues. It's getting harder to pull myself up and out of the dark. I want to learn to love myself again and to nurture myself. May it be so. Offering prayers for me to heal the absence of my dad as I was growing up, so that I can be there for him with gratitude in his last years. And prayers for keeping an open heart for love. Offering prayers for Kat, may she find home and know safety. Offering prayers for Sandra as she heals from heart surgery. Offering prayers for Rebecca and Alex, who experience loss, and may they experience comfort and hope for the road ahead. Offering prayers for the Ailey family, who are dealing with the sudden loss of Corey, husband to Kari, and father of 4 children. May they have peace in their grief. Offering prayers that we remember. May we remember freedom, liberation, and divination. May we remember the birth of truth. And I continue to offer prayers for the well-being and ease of my uncle, Daniel, for the health and well-being of Khalil, for the speedy, supported recovery of Desiree. We continue to offer prayers for Stacy as well. And I continue to offer prayers, all the prayers that have not been articulated. I offer those prayers on our behalf. And I offer prayers on behalf of all of those in this space today, in this session, that you have everything that you need in order to experience deep resourcefulness, safety, health, and connection to community and beloveds. I continue to pray for the complete abolition of all systems of violence and harm, of war, of degradation, of erasure, of exploitation, that all these systems are completely abolished, and all these institutions that embody these systems, that they completely be abolished, so that we can continue our healing and remembrance of our own deep and profound innate Buddha nature. May we all get free as quickly as possible. And we offer these prayers up to our benefactors, to all those who have gathered to hear and witness these prayers. We ask that you work and move on our behalf to bring about what so many of us need in this very moment to happen. And may it be so. As we turn back into our mantra work, and as we prepare, as we move back into the mantra, I invite you to continue receiving this flow of energy from Medicine Buddha. But if you feel resourced enough right now, I invite you to add another layer here, where as we are receiving this deep energy of healing, we're slowly beginning to offer this energy of healing into the world. In the same way, this flow of energy emerges from Medicine Buddha into our own heart centers. We release this energy as well from our heart centers, and imagine that it begins to flow into all the prayers that we've offered into the situations that we're working with. Let it flow into all the conflicts, the genocides, the wars, the everything, all the drama, all the pettiness in the world. Let this healing energy, this medicine flow into all of these situations as we continue this practice. Okay. We begin again. O te anda begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sunga te soa. Te anda begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sunga te soa. Te anda begenze, rasa sunga te soa. Te anda begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sunga te soa. Te anda begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sunga te soa. Te anda begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sunga te soa. Te anda begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sunga te soa. Te anda begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sunga te soa. Te anda begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sunga te soa. Te anda begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sunga te soa. Te anda begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sunga te soa. Te anda begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sunga te soa. Te anda begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sunga te soa. Te anda begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sunga te soa. Te anda begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sunga te soa. Te anda begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sunga te soa. Te anda begenze, begenze, ma begenze, rasa sunga te soa. Te anda begenze, begenze. So just kind of staying in this space. We're going to go just a little further. We're going to move into a practice working with Durga. So we get the Durga mantra. Undum Dare Namaha, the great fierce mother, protection, which we used to practice a little bit more in these sessions. But in Kashi, we rely on this mantra also as a mantra, not just of protection, but also of healing. And so to move into just this very short practice and mantra work, I invite you to return your attention back to the medicine Buddha in front of you, or the feeling of medicine Buddha being in front of you, or just the belief that medicine Buddha is there. And we begin to imagine all of our benefactors twinkling in the space around us like stars, that they begin to dissolve into white light, and how that white light is absorbed into the heart center of medicine Buddha. And slowly, medicine Buddha begins to dissolve into white light. And we imagine that white light begins to kind of encircle us like a balloon. So it's like we're in the center of this circle or this balloon, but this barrier of light begins to form around us. And of course, this barrier of light is all of our benefactors as well as medicine Buddha. And this is your protection circle. As we move out of this session, slowly, eventually, return back to your lives, that this is the protection circle that you can always evoke and reaffirm and strengthen through just remembering and evoking medicine Buddha and all your benefactors and how they are always protecting you. And for those of you who are experiencing kinds of psychic attacks and absorbing other people's energy, or your energy is being drained by others, imagine that this protection, this field of protection, this barrier of light around you disrupts all of that. And all of these psychic ties and strings are instantly severed. And as we move into evoking the Great Mother, we pray to Great Mother Durga that she intervenes to strengthen this barrier of protection. As we begin to close our practice, that we fill this barrier as much as possible until we meet again. We begin. Om Dum Dore Namaha. 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 Om Dum Daye Ah Om Dum Daye Ah Om Dum Daye Ah Om Daye Ah Om Dum Daye Ama Om Dum Daye Na Om Dum Daye Na Om Dum Daye Nama Om Dum Daye Na Om Dum Daye Na Om Dum Daye Nama Om Dum Daye Nama. And now your protection circles are strengthened and fortified. So as we prepare to transition out of our practice, please have the confidence that you carry the blessings of countless profound, powerful beings encircling you. And so when you're ready, if you haven't already, begin to reawaken your bodies, slowly stretching, moving through a few deep cleansing breaths. Whatever energy feels stuck or rigid, releasing that energy in the exhale. Let me turn our attention to Santideva's prayer from the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. And we'll recite this 3 times to dedicate the merit and energy of our session. We'll begin. May I be a protector to those without protection, and a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, may I always be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. And just like space, and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach unto the ends of space. Finally, may I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. All right. Thank you, everyone, for your practice. Special prayers to Rachel as you recover from your surgery, um, and from everything. I'm glad to see you in the space. Um, and Please join me Thursday for Free Radicals. And of course, that can be found on my website, all that information. And then I'll see some of you on Saturday for our in-person retreat here. Um, and next Monday I won't be here either. So I think I've let Eric know. But I'll be back the following Monday as well. Thank you, everyone. And continue to practice and continue to consume the chaos of this moment. And we consume it through deep love, deep care, through holding space, responding, not overreacting, letting our hearts break. Right? And just try not to be so distracted by the drama and the silliness right now. Stay clear, stay grounded, stay close to the Buddhas. Okay? And that's it for me. Thank you, everyone. I'll see you in 2 weeks, if I don't see you later this week. All right. Bye.